tracks a little bit wet early on, and
so I guess you could say that clip from Jose Altuve was pretty nuts. What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We cannot waste any time in an intro because we had 20 games from yesterday. That was the most amount of baseball since 1974. So I would really appreciate a like on the video because I worked very hard and it took forever to get all of the highlights and the script to make this video. So without further ado, Shohei Ohtani, please kickstart the video with a nice little walk-off.
The 3-2. Shohei pulls one into right field. That's a base hit. Trout is going to be waved around. Drive home safely, everybody. Angels win it 6-5. Shohei Ohtani with the walk-off hit.
That was just his 6th hit versus lefties for the entire season. Shohei is definitely one of those guys that you would have to put in the disappointing category. Him, Cody Bellinger to start 2020, as well as Christian Yelich. I mean, they're starting to come around a little bit, but they started off so slow that it's kind of hard to salvage the rest of the season because there's only 60 games. But Mike Trout ended up hitting his 14th home run. The Astros, they do come back as the Angels blow their 10th save of the year, which is tied for most in all of baseball. But moving on over to the Rockies and the Dodgers game, Kevin Pillar, his clutch grand slam in the 8th inning, he puts the Rockies out in front. But yeah, then this happened.
Cracks Peterson. Bets it's a high fly ball to left center field. Back goes Pillar. He's out of room and another home run.
So I guess that grand slam just woke up the beast that is the LA Dodgers. They are the first team to get to 30 W's as Pollock, Peterson, and Mookie Betts all homer. It was over in a flash. They win 10-6 over their division rival. Now I do have to say Mookie Betts is playing at an MVP pace right now. 13 home runs, 30 RBIs, so he's third in all of Major League Baseball in F-WAR. That just means Fangraphs, their version of WAR, because I know a lot of you guys use Baseball Reference, but I think Fangraphs is the way to go. He's only behind Mike Yastrzemski and then the #1 spot by a lot, Fernando Tatis Jr. So it's going to be between Betts and Tatis for the MVP, which might be the theme of a video pretty soon. The mid-season predictions. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Now, because we just talked about Mike Yastrzemski, let's talk about his team, the San Francisco Giants. But unfortunately, the Giants did not pick up a W yesterday. This one is a fairly easy highlight because, I mean, nothing really happened. Both of these teams are kind of just playing for health at this point. So, Ketel Marte, we haven't brought up his name really at all this year. He goes off for 4 hits and 5 at-bats with a home run, 2 RBIs, and the Diamondbacks barely survive a 6-5 victory. Now, one team that did not need to survive anything because they pretty much won in the 4th and 5th inning or whatever they scored a bunch of runs in, the Padres. I would never want to face this offense. There's a couple teams that I would never want to face. The Rockies offense, the Dodgers offense, and then this team, the Padres. I mean, the fact that they added Mitch Moreland, they're getting a breakout season from Fernando Tatis Jr. and Trent Grisham, and then they called up someone named Luis Campusano. I'll go ahead and put up his name right here. He hit his first ever home run in his first big league game. This team has pieces everywhere. And on top of that, Zach Davies has proven to be one of the best starters in the National League. He lowers his ERA to 2.23 as he makes the A's look like the Indians or the Rangers or the Pirates, just any team with a bottom of the league offense. This game wasn't even a game. It was over in a flash. So here's where we begin the doubleheader madness. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doubleheaders in a row, so 10 games in a short amount of time. We're going to go ahead and try and recap it as best as possible. So starting off with the Yankees game, they went back and forth with the Orioles in game #1, but they did get the W. So that is their 18th consecutive win against Baltimore. So, I mean, if you're an Orioles fan and you're watching a game against the Yankees, you could pretty much go watch Kitchen Nightmares or football or basketball, whatever else you want to watch, because the game is not going to last very long. But then in game #2, as the Yankees got a pretty good start from Deivi Garcia, their rookie, but then their other prized possession rookie, Clark Schmidt, he comes in, makes his major league debut, and gives up a ton of runs. Now, I would say that situation was tough for anyone, but if you're Aaron Boone, do you bring in Nelson? Do you bring in any of the other guys who are kind of taxed? Or do you say, hey, Clark Schmidt, I want you to show off your excellent spin rate. Go get these guys out. If you're a Yankees fan, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of all that as they split the doubleheader. Now, one clip I have to show. This, honestly, this is why I love baseball so much. Erik Kratz, the 40-year-old catcher for the New York Yankees, he feels like he has an obligation to the foreigners that come to play baseball. I mean, that's why they love him so much. He's pretty much their dad. So watch this clip, and I guarantee you it's going to be kind of hard not to be emotional because this guy is special.
And they really praise the effort that you've made. What is it about Davey and these young Hispanic guys that treasure working with you?
I don't know, like, you're probably going to get me a little emotional, but they want it just as badly, and there's people at home that want it just as badly for them, and they're not around them. They're not around their family. They're not around the people there. So being older, hopefully I can be somebody that can step in and help that relationship. And not everyone sees it. My Spanish isn't that great, but it's something that I try and I want it to be good. And now I get to cry on Zooms.
Even Debbie Garcia after the game put on Instagram that Erik Kratz is special. So all of these young guys, I think they are going to be better going forward because of the Kratz effect. So I give my props to him. I don't think Gary Sanchez, while Gary Sanchez is good, even though he's having a bad season, I don't think that he makes the same connection as Erik Kratz. But moving on over to the Reds game, Luis Castillo finally gets his first W of the season in a very roller coaster year. He tosses 6 innings, only allows 2 earned runs and strikeouts 8, as Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos, they have been one of the best dynamic duos in all of baseball to start 2020. So they get game number 1, but then in game number 2, Trevor Bauer has a very odd start. So he only allows 2 earned runs, but in total, 4 runs are allowed to score, whether it was because of errors or wild pitches. Pirates do end up bouncing back in game number 2 as the Reds drop to 17-22. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll a clip in just a second. This is from the rookie sensation Ke'Bryan Hayes. He is going to be one of the best third basemen in the future. I can almost guarantee it. Now he's got a great glove. He can hit for power. I didn't realize that he was almost Billy Hamilton fast. Watch this.
Wow, that's hit well.
Yeah, toward right center field and over the head of Goodwin.
Who is this guy?
Ke'Bryan Hayes, look at him motor. Headed to third base with a triple. And
Danny Jansen gets a hold of one.
Swinging a broken bat roller towards the hole. Out of the reach of Bogarts into left field, a base hit.
Again, the 3-2. And a bouncer over him, but right in the right spot out at second to make the...
You just saw Ke'Bryan Hayes hitting a triple, and then the Blue Jays getting a game number 1 win in that doubleheader yesterday. But then unfortunately for the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, they decide to rally the troops. It was another close game, but the Red Sox actually, wait, what? Hold on, I read my script wrong because there's just so much happening. But yeah, the Red Sox, they do end up bouncing back in another 1-run game. So they split the doubleheader, and in doing so, the Blue Jays and the Yankees are still tied neck and neck for second place in that American League East division. With 3 weeks left, that second spot is everything to a lot of teams. Remember, the top 2 teams from every single division go, and then really the top 8 teams make it. So the Blue Jays are playing for an automatic spot, same with the Yankees, but I just don't know if their health is going to be enough. I mean, they're losing everyone. They just put Gio Urshela on the IL. Whew, the Braves offense showed up yesterday. In game number 1, Ronald Acuna Jr., Dansby Swanson, and then newcomer Tommy Malone, they do all of the heavy lifting in an easy 7-1 victory over the Washington Nationals. I'm going to go ahead and throw up this graph right here. This is from the Nationals starting pitcher Austin Voth. I would say the synopsis of that game 1 victory for the Braves is that they hit the ball very, very hard. So many 100-plus exit velos. Now in game number 2, the Braves offense was still steamrolling. They scored a bunch of runs. But the Braves manager just wanted to, maybe give the Nationals an early Christmas present. He pretty much botched this game as they lose. And every single loss is going to sting because the Phillies are in that same division and they are surging right now. So I guess because we talked about the Phillies, let's go ahead and bring them up right now, and then we'll get back to the doubleheaders. Arrieta needed to bounce back after the shortest start of his big league career, which is saying something because he was awful in Baltimore when he first started off his career. So the Phillies get a massive W as Conforto homered in the 5th to tie it, but then the Mets bullpen, they do what the Mets do best and they implode. 3 earned runs, and then they hit their 4th hitter on the year with the bases loaded. You just can't do that. So Arrieta and the rest of that offense, they're starting to come around, and this was the biggest victory of the year by far for the Phillies, and they have now won 10 of their last 11 games. They are coming for the Braves. So even though they're scoring a bunch of runs and that loss to the Nationals doesn't really mean anything right now because they're still in first place, it could mean a lot in the grand scheme of things. The final doubleheader from yesterday, we have the Twins versus the Tigers. Matthew Boyd in back-to-back starts throws a quality start, but Randy Dobnak says, I can do you a little bit better as he throws 5 shutout innings as Jorge Polanco and Josh Donaldson hit back-to-back home runs in game number 1. But they weren't done. The Twins end up sweeping the Tigers in this little mini-series, the doubleheader, as they get a 3-2 victory. They kind of came from behind as the Tigers bullpen imploded, just like the Mets. Now, side note, I think Miguel Cabrera, even though they lost, he got hits in both games, so he is now either on an 11-game hitting streak or a 14-game hitting streak. I couldn't find the exact stat, and I was too lazy to go and count them myself. But the Twins, with those W's, they are now tied for second place with the Indians in the American League Central as the White Sox leapfrog everyone. I'm telling you, the AL Central is going to be a mad dash to the finish, and I will lose 50 years off my life trying to cover it because we go from first place to third place to second place to first place to third place in a matter of 2 days. It's wild. I guess we'll talk about the Indians because we just brought them up. You are never going to get a W when your 1 through 5 hitters go 1 for 18 with 0 RBIs, but you have to tip your cap to Corbin Burnes, who has been dominant in his last 2 starts, and honestly, to start 2020, back-to-back starts in which he has really dialed in. This time he goes 6 innings, does not allow a single earned run with 7 strikeouts. Also, Cookie for the Indians threw a gem as well, but I think teams are starting to figure out the Indians bullpen with Oliver Perez, Phil Maton, or Matone, however you say his name, and then also James Karinchak as he gives up another home run, this time to righty Keston Hiura. So I think the league is starting to tell the hitters, hey, sit back and wait for Karinchak's curveball because he's either going to walk you or he's going to throw it right down the middle, which if you're an Indians fan, that's not good to hear. He has been dominant, and now he's starting to slip.
And ball 4. That will force home a run. And a liner into left center field. Dickerson's going to have to. Ground ball, third, backhanded stop. Out at third, down at second, save 2. And strike 3 call. This game is over.
Rookie Josh Fleming gets his 3rd consecutive win as the Rays offense take advantage of a rare off night by Pablo Lopez. So the Rays get a really clutch W yesterday. Now moving on to the White Sox and the Royals game. The Royals seem to put up a fight against every American League Central team. If they're playing the Twins or the Indians or the White Sox, they usually perform pretty well. But yesterday, I mean, you just can't really do much with the White Sox offense, especially when Jose Abreu was on an 18-game hitting streak. He drives in 2 RBIs in the 6th inning. It was kind of an ugly game as both starting pitchers were lit up, but Nick Madrigal is back. You guys know he's a top prospect. This is his first season. He's hitting 400 on the year so far, and the White Sox are now in first place. Move the heck on before I get upset. I still can't believe we're going to have to deal with that team for the next decade with a young Luis Robert, Nick Madrigal, Lucas Giolito, whatever the heck his name is, Michael Kopech. All right, who's next? The Cubs? All right, let's talk about the Cubs. Yu Darvish for Cy Young. Yu Darvish for Cy Young. This man has been electric. You might as well call him 7-11 because he's pretty much guaranteed to go 7 innings with 11 strikeouts pretty much every single start. That's exactly what he did yesterday. 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, only 1 earned run. He is now 7-1 on the season with a 1.44 ERA in 50 innings. And then Contreras, he backpacks the entire team with 4 RBIs as they win 4-1. Now the final game, yes, this is the final game. This has been the beefiest MLB recap of all time. Yusei Kikuchi, he throws a gem once about every 3 or 4, maybe even 5 starts, and he saved it for yesterday against the Rangers. 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, only 1 earned run, as the Mariners offense has really cooled off the last couple days as they get RBIs from Evan White and Crawford in a 6-3 victory. Whew, 20 games in less than 20 minutes. You're welcome. So with that, everyone, that is going to complete today's MLB recap. I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe because that took forever. Trying to make sure it's all concise and that you guys get the players of the game and everything else with standings. It's kind of hard. So yeah, expect that video where we talk about midseason predictions either tonight or tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe even Monday. I'm not sure. But stay safe out there and enjoy this day in MLB history.
Cal sends one high in the air to left center field. Away back. It's gone.
And this is left up, and it's hit to left field and deep. Holiday going back. Matt is not going to get it. You know, Matt's complaining that a fan interfered. He's not going to get this call because he never leaped. It's a 2-run home.
He's just keeping the ball away from Bohr the whole game. He wants to get it. There, ball.
Behind the back flip, and he got him! Oh, wow! It's so easy for Cologne right now that he's able to put some mustard on it.
Oh, my God.